morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. So this is my daily live stream, weekdays at 11 a.m., covering all things UK business and coronavirus. If you're tuning in on the replay, do give me a hashtag replay in the comments so that I can come back and say hello to you at a later time. So thank you everyone who is hopping in just now. I do appreciate it. Hello, Norman. Hello, Zim. Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for hopping on. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it very, very much. And I am just going to pull up my chat stream so that I can make sure that I can see all the chats that are going on as we go along today. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. The topic is around UK business and coronavirus. So those are the topics that I'll be answering questions on today. I have a number of points to run through as always. If you are new to me and you have not watched any of my streams before or any of my content before, my name is Annette Ferguson. I'm CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant and certified profit first professional, and I help business owners take home more money from their businesses for them and their families to enjoy. Of course, just now that is incredibly challenging for many, many families and businesses. And that is why I started up these daily updates happening at weekdays at 11 a.m. UK. And in the hope that I can support you both now and beyond as well. So hello to everyone who's hopping on. Hello, Pete. Hello, Sim. Hello, Sergio. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I do appreciate it. Good morning, Yahya. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate everyone who has tuned in. Oh, Norman is saying my signal is breaking up with him. Is anyone else got signal issues? It seems to be strong at my end, so I'm not sure if that is my end or your end, Norman, but thank you for letting me know. Good morning, Graham. Good morning, Pedro. Good morning, Dave. I appreciate everybody hopping in and tuning in. So thank you so much for joining me today. I will monitor that, Norman, and see if anyone else is saying that they're having issues as well. And if so, I might have to restart this, but we'll have a go and see what happens. So the good morning, Debbie. Oh, Debbie's saying she can hear me fine. So it might just be at your end, Norman. That's the issue there. Let me know. I am also incidentally over on other channels. Norman, I see that you are on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at the moment. So it might be worth hopping over to a different channel to catch this, maybe if Instagram's being a bit funny as well. So we have, first off, the government are looking at returning some furlough workers on a part-time basis beyond June. This is the ongoing discussions that I've been speaking about for a lot of last week as well, in trying to end furlough and what that might look like. At the moment, furlough is agreed up to the end of June. But after that, the Chancellor is saying that he does not want a sheer cliff drop-off for employees, because all that will have done is essentially delayed employment by 3 months, and the government will have been footing the bill for that. So what they are looking to do is some sort of staged unwind of furlough, potentially saying that employees can come back and be part-time furloughed, part-time not furloughed. Of course, this in itself creates a lot of issues, because if the government is paying for part of the wage and not part of the wage, the definition of furlough is going to have to change, which is going to be confusing and complicated for people. And then how do you prove that an employee has worked, say, 60% of the time instead of 40% of the time? It's going to be quite confusing and difficult to administer doing that. So that's why it's taking quite a while for them to agree on that. Although we are hearing that something should be announced by the Chancellor possibly today or tomorrow on it. So watch this space on that as to what actually comes out and what actually is announced around that. We're not quite sure yet. But there's a suggestion that it might be phased out gradually over the summer period to introduce greater flexibility into the system. So it will be interesting to see how that falls. As I say, We are expecting an announcement possibly in the next couple of days by the Chancellor on this. Typically that comes out, of course, in the briefings, in the late afternoon, early evening briefings, those 5 p.m. briefings that happen. So we'll watch this space on that. And of course, as and when anything is announced, I will let you know in my following days live. Now, as and when it is announced, though, I will be announcing it first into the Uncover Wealth community. That is my private community on Facebook, which if you are not in there, I highly, highly urge you to come and join me in there. And I welcome you in there as well. So you just need to search Uncover Wealth Community in the search bar on Facebook, and you can come over and join in there. That is where I announce everything first. As soon as I hear it, it gets announced into there. So you do want to be in there for any new announcements as well. And of course, in there as well, I have exclusive trainings as well as part of my Training Tuesdays session. My session tomorrow for Training Tuesday is going to be all around how to manage your business money during a recession. So you may want to join us inside the Uncover Wealth community for that exclusive training in there for tomorrow, Training Tuesday, which will happen at 1:30 p.m. UK. But back to today. So do give me a hello if you are joining. Do let me know that you are on. I would love to know that you are watching. So do say hello to me in the comments. It is always good to know that people are tuning in. So retail and property chiefs are warning the government that the bailouts of reliefs, grants and loans will not be sufficient to stop the imminent collapse of many businesses. They are calling again for a retail furlough to try and protect them when it comes to their business's rent. Now, what that is I spoke about that a few days ago, but just as a recap, the retail furlough system is basically where tenants would pay an amount of rent, the landlords would agree a rent reduction, and then the government would cover anything in the middle where they don't meet. That has been suggested, and retail and property chiefs are calling for some kind of system like that. System like that has worked in other countries, so they are saying, can we be considering this in the UK to try and limit the amount of retail businesses that are potentially going to go under during this point in time. That's a wait and see on that. Nothing has been decided as yet on that either. There's going to be more details and guidance expected today for what is meant by stay alert when it comes to businesses in England. Of course, this is the message that has been put out by Boris Johnson yesterday. Many people are saying it is far too woolly, it's very subjective, and it's very confusing for many, many people. This is not the message in Wales or in Scotland. The stay alert message has moved from stay at home in England only. So that's important to note that it has not changed. The messaging has not changed in Scotland or in Wales. Boris said yesterday that people who cannot work from home should now return to the workplace, avoiding public transport and social distancing. So he made a very clear statement that he wants people to start returning to the workplace wherever possible, ensuring that they are social distancing. This is going to, loop back to a video I filmed the other day, which I'm not sure has been released yet, so maybe you haven't seen it. But I recorded a quick video on Section 44 of the Employment Rights Act, because under that act, employees are allowed to say, I do not deem this workplace to be safe for me, I'm not coming to work, and they are allowed to do that without fear of punishment as well. So this is going to be interesting in how this actually plays out in practice, because are people going to feel safe returning to the workplace? And that is going to be a big, big question that time will tell on. And it's going to be important to watch what that actually means in reality for many, many businesses, many business owners, and their liabilities around that as well. Should somebody fall ill in the workplace, should somebody die as a result of contracting coronavirus in the workplace, is the business owner liable, and would any insurance even pay out to cover that liability? So there's a lot of problems here that going back to work is going to pull up for business owners. So being aware of that is going to be really, really important, and being aware that you cannot, for example, fire somebody if they refuse to come to work because they feel unsafe in the current situation. Boris has also said to avoid public transport. So it may be that your employees cannot get to work whilst avoiding public transport. That's going to cause an issue as well. Where does that fall in terms of, rules, legislations, guidelines, employment law, all those kinds of things? So it's also said that construction and manufacturing should be actively encouraged back to work. So those two sectors, he's very keen on getting back to work. We spoke about construction and manufacturing the other day. If you are in a big manufacturing plant with large, heavy machinery, it may require more than one person to be doing something within a certain distance of somebody to operate such machinery. If that is the case, then social distancing won't be able to take place, and therefore that machinery will not be able to run. This is a big part of getting back to work, is social distancing must be adhered to. This is not throwing out social distancing. It still needs to be in place. So therefore, it's going to cause some issues. Particularly in these sectors that have been mentioned specifically as well. So it's going to be tricky the next few weeks. We are hoping for some more clarity over the next couple of days in exactly what that means for business, because we have heard before that there have to be coronavirus risk assessments done, those kinds of things. So are they going to become a legal requirement? Is that necessary? Again, stuff that we just don't know at the moment, but it is stuff that is still up in the air, and we need to make sure that we understand this. If we are employers opening up our place of work to our employees, we have a duty of care and we have a legal obligation to protect our employees from harm. And therefore, we need to make sure that if we are opening up our workplaces again, we can do so safely, and we are confident that we can do so safely. So that is going to be a big issue for many. I'm going to take a drink of my tea. If you have any questions, do let me know in the comments. I would love to answer any questions that you have. So do let me know whilst I take a drink of my tea. That's better. So bounce back loans, the availability from Starling Bank is opening up this morning. So Starling Bank is allowing people now to apply for bounce back loans. That I had a quick look earlier because I have an account with Starling, so I had a quick look as to how to do that earlier. You need to go to their website online and do that, and then you can get a code or use the QR code to log in on your desktop, and then you'd apply through that. So that's how they're doing it with Starling Bank. Andrew Bailey, the Bank of England governor, has said that he is urging banks nearly every day to lend more, saying that credit is the best way to actually prevent a more adverse outcome. So he means a more adverse outcome specifically for the banks. So he's saying that they need to lend more money. Otherwise, basically, more businesses are going to go bust, and that's going to cause them a bigger problem. That is essentially what he is saying right now. So that's an interesting message from the governor of the Bank of England. He also came out and he said that we should be expecting unemployment to double. This will depend, of course, on what happens as we come out of furlough as well, and what that looks like. But, I've said it time and time again on these sessions that many, many people are saying that the people sitting on furlough just now are potentially a hidden unemployed number, and at some point may add to the unemployed numbers in the country. We are also hearing that we should be expecting the worst recession in 300 years, and those kinds of things as well, which would go along with incredibly high unemployment numbers that we might expect to see. Justaman67 on TikTok. I am a chartered accountant, which is why I am speaking about UK business and coronavirus and the economy, the banks, the government support, all those kinds of things. HMRC has begun to contact the around 3.5 million people who they believe would be eligible for the self-employed support scheme, the SEISS. The contact from HMRC has started to come out. So if you believe you are entitled to that, you should be receiving a letter very soon around how you actually then go ahead and apply for it. Thank you so much for joining me, Spencer. Hello to you. Thank you so much, Michael. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hopping on. We are seeing that online sales in April rocketed by 109.6% compared to the previous year. That is actually the highest since records began in 2010. So incredible. However, there is a downside too, because saying that, like for like sales on and offline, so combining the two together, are actually down 29.6%. So it's not that everybody has moved their entire spending habit online. That has not been offset by the drop in the offline sales. So we are seeing an overall drop in sales across the board, but we are seeing this incredible rocketing of online, but like I say, does not match the offline drop. So there are some good news and some bad news there as well. I'm Lifestyle Coach. Thank you so much for your kind words. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everyone tuning in. I appreciate the likes, the hearts, the loves, the thumbs ups, whatever it is on whichever platform you are on. I also massively appreciate when you share out this broadcast as well. It means a huge amount to me when you do share this out to your friends, your followers, your likers, and your fans, so that they can benefit as well. So thank you so much. I do appreciate it very, very much. So we are hearing that thousands of small companies are going to face collapse unless insurers start to pay out on business interruption insurance claims. We heard a couple of weeks ago that there was a group taking the insurance industry basically to court, essentially. So they were going to put up to court key phrases that are used in these insurance policies, in these business interruption insurance policies, to get clarity at the court level, so that individual policyholders could then apply that to their policy, and the insurers would have precedent to pay out or not pay out under that. So that is still happening. There are still big lobbying groups on that. There are still groups of people looking at doing class actions and those kinds of things against the insurers who are not typically paying out under their business interruption insurance. So we're hearing that thousands of small companies face collapse as a result of that. Of course, many business owners have paid extra for this type of insurance, and for it to not pay out when their business has been interrupted as a result of a pandemic, they have been told to close their doors, really doesn't seem fair at all. So that's still a watch this space on how that's going to fall and what's going to happen with that as well. The former Chancellor, Sajid Javid, has warned against tax rises, saying that it will strangle economic recovery. As we go into this situation, this recession, it's going to be incredibly interesting how this is played out, because we've got two problems here. We've got a recessionary economy, which typically we would try and come out of a recession by encouraging spending. That is usually what happens in a recession, is people try and encourage spending to boost up the numbers and pull a country out of a recession. However, what we are also seeing is the situation where the government has had to spend, it looks like around about £1 trillion on this pandemic, and therefore needs some way to start recouping funds. And that would typically be done through tax rises. So we've got these real polar opposite issues, both which present massive problems, and both of which the solution is at the opposite end of the scale. One is lower taxes, do not raise taxes, keep taxes as low as possible. And the other is push taxes as high as they possibly can be to recover funds. And this is going to cause a real problem. And it's, only time will tell which way the government will go on that. We expect an emergency budget to come out perhaps before the autumn budget. If not, the autumn budget will tell us as well what we might expect. But this is going to cause a real problem, and it's going to have the government pulled in both directions as to what is the correct course of action for the country, what is the most stable course of action. So that's going to cause some issues too. Any questions, do let me know in the comments. I can't see very many questions coming through today, but do let me know if you have any. I am happy to answer those. I'm just checking all the feeds. Let's see where we are with those. Let's see. Any update on grants available for B&Bs who pay council tax, not business rates? I also completed a bounce back final forms with NatWest on Thursday, but still no funds. That is John. So John, in terms of B&Bs who pay council tax, I don't know if you heard my update on this a few days ago, but yes, there are. So if you pay council tax in your B&B, your local authority has a number of discretionary grants available, and that is one of the sectors that it has been urged to pay out on their discretionary grants. Now, I have heard anecdotally that a number of councils are saying, hang on, what discretionary grants? We don't have the money from central government yet, so we can't pay out anything. But John, it's worth checking with your local authority, with your local council on those discretionary grants that they do have available, because B&Bs is one of the sectors that they were told they should prioritize in terms of looking at discretionary grants. So worth doing that. And you're saying that you also completed your bounce back loan final forms with NatWest on Thursday, but still no funds. That was over the bank holiday. So I would have thought there wouldn't be any funds over the bank holiday and the weekend. You may expect some coming through today or tomorrow, because typically we don't see payouts from banks on bank holidays. So that may be why, John, that may be why it's slightly delayed, because it was over the bank holiday weekend. Kirsty is saying, what are the different types of loans that we can apply for at this time, and how do they work from an interest rate perspective and paying back? So Kirsty, thank you so much for tuning in, first off. And secondly, the loans, there are two types of loans for the vast majority of small businesses, unless you're an incredibly large PLC. There are two loans. One is the bounce back loan. The bounce back loan lends between £2,000 and £50,000. And the bounce back loan has a 2.5% interest rate. It is over a 6-year term. There is no interest fees or repayments due within the first 12 months. And the application is a very short kind of self-certified application form, 1 to 2 pages, 7, 8 questions, and typically funds are being paid out by most banks within 24 to 48 hours. Those are 100% guaranteed by government, so there is no credit check on the individual or the business taking out those bounce back loans. There are a handful of lenders at the moment, although they are growing. You are advised to apply through your own bank if it offers it. Now, if it does not, there is only at the moment HSBC offering to non-current account holders, non-bank account holders. The reason for this is that they want to get these loans processed very quickly. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people applying for them. And if you are new to a bank, they need to perform their credit checks. They need to perform their money laundering checks so that they can accept you as a customer. So that is the problem with that. So that's what that says. The second loan is the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, or CBILS as it is being termed. That has changed slightly. So the CBILS loans are for £50,000 lending and over now. It used to be you could lend less under CBILS, but now, or borrow less under CBILS, but now that has gone up and it's 50,000 upwards. That is 80% backed by government. That is a much more arduous process and a longer process to apply for and receive funds. You need to submit your previous accounts. You need to submit cash flow statements. There's a lot more that happens with those CBILS loans. Of course, the lending is higher, so we would expect that, and it's not guaranteed by government. So, of course, it's based on the company and the individual's credit ratings and looking at those when they are lending as well. And the interest rate is is determined by the bank itself. We're typically seeing rates anything from about 3% to about 6%, but it is determined by the bank and on your own particular circumstances too. It is individual lending that you would apply for, and if a business manager at your bank, is worth discussing with them if you want to take out a CBILS loan. The people who I have heard of being most successful with that are those that have a good relationship with their business bank manager in reality. So those are the differences. And that's kind of how they work. With the CBILS loan as well, you have no interest payable for the first 6 months, and it's the bank's discretion whether repayments are payable or not. But what I've heard from a few people who have got these is the banks are saying they'll also hold off repayments for a certain time period with the CBILS loans as well. So those are the differences between the two, and which apply in which situation. I hope that's helpful, Kirsty, for you. Let me know if you have any more questions on that, or if there's anything else you're not sure of on that side of things as well. Good morning, Karen. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate it. Are they bringing out any support for warehouses? Not specifically, Debbie, not specifically. So we are seeing that, some of the discretionary grants, perhaps possible, but there's nothing specific for warehouses themselves other than the grants that you would get for having a premises potentially that is subject to rates. So nothing specific for warehouses at all, Debbie. That is the situation with that, unfortunately. So let's have a look and see if we've got any more questions coming through. Let's see. Where are we? Okay, I think I have all the questions. Yes, I think I've answered all the questions. Interesting to note as well that Sweden's approach to lockdown or not lockdown, they've had a very different approach, and a lot of people have been discussing that. Sweden's approach has, we're seeing now that has not protected their economy at all. Their economy is in a incredibly bad shape at the moment as well. And so, Sweden's approach, one of their things they were saying was to try and protect their economy, and we haven't seen that in reality, unfortunately, for Sweden. So it seems like the experiment they had there did not work in terms of protecting their economy as well, because people have chosen to stop spending and all those things. So that's not, unfortunately, paid off for Sweden. I am back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. UK, covering very similar issues. So UK business and coronavirus update on whichever platform you're watching now. I'm back at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So whether that be on Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram, or you are watching inside the Uncover Wealth community, my private Facebook group for business owners, I would love if you want to come and join me in there. If you're not already a member of the Uncover Wealth community, you can search in the Facebook search bar for Uncover Wealth community, and you can find me that way. Otherwise, on many of the platforms in the URL that I have, the link there in my bio, you click on that, and one of the things there listed is the Uncover Wealth community, so you can get a nice shortcut that way if that is easy for you. Inside the Uncover Wealth community, I have exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else, including Training Tuesdays, which I am doing tomorrow. So it being Tuesday, tomorrow, of course. And my session tomorrow is on how to manage your business money during a recession. So do join me for that inside the Uncover Wealth community if you would like as well. You are welcome. For everyone who's saying thank you, you are more than welcome. I do appreciate it. I know that your time is incredibly precious, and I appreciate you tuning in and spending some of it with me. I hope that you get value from these sessions as well. That's all I have for you guys today. So I will see you again at 11 a.m. tomorrow, same time, same place, and covering off any updates as they are announced as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll speak soon. See ya.